So thank you for showing up on the screen and welcome to this talk about hydrogen water and ozone water, and in particular about a quite amazing little bottle that creates both of these that I'm going to share some information about. This is something I've become very interested in over the last year and a bit. I had COVID, it was quite a long time ago now, but back in the throes of COVID, when I got over COVID, I felt very brain foggy, sort of leaden in my head. And when I discovered hydrogen water, and in particular the bottle I'm going to talk about today, it had this amazing effect on that kind of post-COVID bleh, in that I felt as if someone had come along and clicked a light switch in my head and ding, the light had come on, and all this kind of groggy, sleepy, heavy, foggy stuff in a matter of days kind of cleared, and I was able to concentrate, and I felt brighter, and I felt more myself mentally. All that fog just dissipated very, very quickly, and I got quite hooked on drinking this hydrogen water. And since then I've been experimenting and learning more about it, and had lots of success stories and lots of lovely experiences myself. But I've never really talked about it. So I thought, why don't I give a little talk about this bottle for people who might be interested? Because of course, it doesn't just help with that kind of brain foggy situation, it helps with all sorts of things. And many of us at the moment are a little bit below par, or a little bit tired, or in some sort of post-viral state, because of course there's still a lot of bugs around. So I'm going to talk about this bottle, but rather than just talk about the bottle, I in particular want to talk a bit about hydrogen water and ozone water and the benefits, and give a little bit of understanding in quite a basic way, because I'm not a physicist or chemist or anything of that sort. So just to give you a little bit of background and then come back to the bottle at the end. So I thought I'd share my screen and show you some pictures, and I'll talk at the same time. And then at the end, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Okay. So I'm just going to put my screen share on. Whoops. Great. Can everybody see this? Good. Okay. So the product I'm going to be talking about is called the DeAqua 3-in-1 hydrogen and ozone water generator. And it's quite an incredible product, as I said, that has the ability to really improve health and create a state of regeneration and rejuvenation, and bringing about a state of youthfulness in the body. And that happens through the presence of hydrogen in the water. And as I say, this bottle is no ordinary bottle. It creates hydrogen and infuses hydrogen, but also ozone. It also creates ozone water. Infusing hydrogen into the water that has so many health-giving properties. So I'd like to talk a little bit about this. So here we go, the powerful healing effects of, firstly, hydrogen-rich water. So there have been a lot of scientific studies about hydrogen and hydrogen water in particular. Over 340 scientific studies and clinical trials. And in fact, I was listening to a webinar a couple of weeks ago online, and they were talking about over 1,000 research studies that had been done. So I don't have information on those research projects, but I was interested that they were saying there's over 1,000 of them that have been done. And those pieces of research have been done into the way hydrogen can help fight and prevent disease. And we're not talking about just coughs and colds, but some pretty major diseases, things like heart disease and chronic respiratory disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes. strokes and cancer. So some of the leading illnesses that are around in this day and age that have been shown to be helped through drinking hydrogen water, which is quite exciting. And just to give you a little taster of some of the things I'll be talking about, out of those 340, or maybe it's 1,000 clinical studies, these are some of the effects that have been found. So things like, and this is what I'll be talking a lot about today, anti-aging. Molecular hydrogen creates an anti-aging effect in the body. It also reduces allergies. It also has a very powerful effect on the brain and the nervous system, protecting it from damage and helping it heal if there is some form of damage. It feeds our mitochondria, so it gives our cells energy. It hugely feeds the skin, has a powerful effect on the skin and healing different situations that might be happening with our skin. Lowers cholesterol and blood sugar level, plays a huge part in helping detox, helping remove toxins from the body. It has a protective effect for our organs. It has a big effect in enhancing and boosting immunity. And so this goes on and on. I won't read all of these out. This is one of my favourite ones, so I'll mention this. Increasing recovery from injury, or if you've had a big workout and you're feeling a bit energy depleted, reducing fatigue here, energizing the cells and helping recovery after activity. So there's an awful lot of things, and many more, that molecular hydrogen has the potential to help with, which is quite exciting, as we're basically talking about drinking water. And one of the really important aspects of hydrogen water is the effect it has on free radicals and the aging process. So I just wanted to mention this briefly. We all age as we get older, and often we think as we age that this is inevitable, this is just the aging process. We get grayer hair, we get more wrinkles, and all sorts of different potential changes happen as we get older. And not all of that is the norm. Not all of that has to happen. Of course, we will show signs of aging, but that aging process that we think to be normal is hugely sped up and increased by the presence of free radicals. And so if we had a means to remove free radicals, we might then create a difference in our appearance and our experience of growing older. But what are free radicals? Well, they are unstable atoms, tiny, tiny little particles that are surrounded by a ring of electrons. And one of those electrons, because they all appear in pairs, one of them doesn't have a partner, it's unpaired. And this is what makes the atom unstable. And this is what's so dangerous about free radicals, that they have this one unpaired electron and they have to find another electron to join together with. And so what they do is they steal electrons from other atoms and they take them to be their own. But in that process, they actually begin to damage the atom it's stolen the electron from, and signs of aging are brought about. Not only that, when a healthy atom has an electron stolen by the free radical, it's subject to a process called oxidative stress, which is what we see here in an apple. You all know that if you cut an apple and leave it in the air, it will go brown. And this is really demonstrating the process of oxidative stress, which breaks down cells and causes aging. So here we've got an apple, and here a bit's been sliced off, and you can see it's beginning to go brown, and over time will begin to wither a bit. And as much more time goes by, you end up with a very brown, wrinkly, unjuicy, dehydrated, not particularly appetizing apple. And this is maybe quite a strong image, but it's illustrating what happens in our cells. So here, like the apple, is a nice healthy cell. And here is the cell being attacked by free radicals. So free radicals are coming, and that unpaired electron is stealing electrons from the healthy atoms, and the cell begins to break down. It's under attack, and it shows sign of oxidative stress, which for us, will show as signs of aging. So I'll come back to that in a minute. So you might be thinking, well, where do these free radicals come from? And they're actually quite unavoidable. They're everywhere. There are some external sources which are a little more avoidable. Free radicals will be generated through sprays on our crops, pesticides, toxins, through pharmaceutical drugs, through air pollution, through industrial chemicals, again, being released into the air or to the land, through the consumption of alcohol, through heavy metals, which of course are toxic, poisonous to the body, through radiation, and through smoking. So I'm sure you've seen people who are chain smokers, and you might have noticed that they're much more wrinkly. They look older. Commonly, chain smokers will look older than they actually are. And this is hugely to do with the free radical damage, the oxidative stress that's speeding up the aging process in those people. But interestingly, free radicals, 4% of them, also come from the oxygen we breathe. So it's actually quite difficult to escape free radicals. And there's been lots of research into free radicals for really some number of years. And what's known about free radicals is that as the body is subject to the effect of free radicals, it shows sign of aging and becomes less able to fight the effects of the free radicals. As we take on more free radicals, as we go through life and as we're subject to different toxins, more oxidative stress is created in the body. There's more damage to our cells, which leads to more degeneration and more signs of aging. And again, there have been lots of studies that have been done around oxidative stress. And a few of the things that have been shown to be caused by this situation are diseases of the central nervous system, like Alzheimer or dementias, cardiovascular disease, autoimmune and inflammatory conditions, of which there's many around at the moment. So those are things like cancer or forms of arthritis, cataracts, vision decline, and the usual things that we think of as aging, like loss of skin elasticity and getting a bit more wrinkly, losing our hair or having greying hair, or degenerative diseases like Parkinson's, and I'm sure the list doesn't end there. So it's really in our benefit to have ways of removing free radicals so that instead of stealing electrons from our healthy cells and then creating all this damage, that they could just be exited from the body. And one way of doing that is with hydrogen, because the thing that enables free radicals to be neutralized are antioxidants, and hydrogen is a powerful antioxidant. It's not something we can hold in our hand, it's a gas, and it's colourless and odourless, it's tasteless, we can't see it, we can't particularly get a grip to it, but it has an amazing effect in the body. So back to a picture similar to the one we saw before. So here's a healthy atom with its electrons floating around the edge, and here's a free radical, and that free radical is coming to pinch one of the healthy electrons it needs to create a pair. How would it be if we had enough antioxidants, and so let's imagine this is some molecular hydrogen, that antioxidant of hydrogen could give the free radical the electron it needs, so that it wouldn't have to steal one from our healthy atoms. That would effectively stop this process of cellular breakdown of oxidative stress. So here we have the same picture again. Here's the hydrogen, it's an antioxidant giving or donating an electron to create a pair here to this free radical so that it's basically cancelled out. Then we would see this sort of situation in the body. This is a piece of apple again. Here it is in the air going brown. Here it is in some water going a little bit brown, but here is in some hydrogen-rich water, some hydrogenated water. You can see it keeps its colour. That process of oxidation is ceased. So wouldn't that be amazing if this could happen in the body, if we were to take in enough hydrogen ourselves, in the form of hydrogen water, internally in our cells, we would stay in this state and less in this state. Potentially there'd be less aging. So that's an interesting thought. Now, one of the reasons that molecular hydrogen is such a powerful antioxidant is because of its size. It's absolutely tiny. So here in diagrammatical form, we can see some other antioxidants like vitamin C. You can see their relative size. This is the size in relation to them, molecular hydrogen. It's very tiny. And that means it can penetrate into the heart of our cells, into the mitochondria. And this is one of the reasons that molecular hydrogen has a very energizing effect, that it can easily pass through into the center of our cells, eliminating free radicals right in the center there and releasing more energy. It also enables the release of certain enzymes into the cells, which also play a huge effect in speeding up cellular repair, as opposed to allowing them to be under the effect of these free radicals that are creating the opposite effect, cellular degeneration. And the brilliant thing about molecular hydrogen, perhaps, is it's completely safe. It's harmless. It's non-toxic. So we can take in our water as much as we want. We can drink as much hydrogen water as we wish, and it will be side effect free. It'll be harmless. And there's not many things that you can say that of. There's usually a side effect of some sort in anything that we take in. So it's quite a miracle molecule. Here are some of the links to research that's been done around the efficacy of hydrogen, and some of the things that have been discovered from these projects. So it was discovered that drinking hydrogen water increases energy, mental clarity and focus, so that I was mentioning at the beginning of the talk. Helps people to maintain their optimal weight. It enhances athletic performance and increases one's endurance. Decreases recovery time, so it speeds up our ability to recover from athletic performance. It supports regular bowel movements and digestion. It helps decrease body odours, maybe because it's a big detoxer. It helps the body detox. It helps with sleep. And I've found this to be very true myself. Much easier to wake up in the morning with a sense of being ready to wake up rather than feeling a bit foggy and wanting a bit more sleep. A general improved mood and feeling of well-being, feeling of being more energized and more centered. If you drink and you're prone to hangovers, it's going to help you get through those hangovers more easily. It also improves joints. So people often find that joint discomfort lessens. And this is something many people comment on. Enhanced skin tone. Really nourishes the skin, softens the skin, helps begin to bring about a more youthful appearance skin-wise. And that's just a few of the things that have been proven to happen with hydrogen water. So back to this little bottle itself. The DeAqua bottle is this bottle here, and it's quite an ingenious design. It can make both hydrogen water, bringing about these effects that I've just been talking about. It can also ozonate water. I haven't talked about that yet, which creates water which is, as you can see with this little picture here, killing germs, killing bugs. It's antiseptic, it's antibiotic, it's antifungal, antibacterial. I'll talk about that in a minute. But this bottle also has various adapters so that you can use it in different ways. You can not only drink water, but you can also add this little adapter to the base part here and use it as an inhaler or a nebulizer to begin to breathe in molecular hydrogen. And this is a fantastic way if you're feeling tired or brain foggy, or you've got some neurological damage or neurological possible condition. It's a brilliant way of feeding the brain, feeding the mind, clearing the mind. But it's also a really good way of cleaning the respiratory pathways. So if you feel as if you're beginning to get a little bit of a something, beginning signs in your throat or somewhere around here, inhaling molecular hydrogen can, in my experience at least, this is what's happened for me, kind of flush out the beginning signs of a bug by detoxing and cleaning, as I say, those respiratory mucous membranes. So it has these different properties, different ways of being used. It comes in a box like this, with its different attachments. And when it comes to making hydrogen water, you have two settings. There's a big button on the front, which makes it easy to use. And you can either hydrogenate your water for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes. Now, for general day-to-day drinking, 5 minutes is probably fine. You're going to get a lot of hydrogen in your water that will have these wonderful health-boosting properties. But if you're feeling tired, or if you've been ill, or if you've had a big workout, or if your brain's just a bit frazzled, you could press the button 3 times, and that would give you 10 minutes of hydrogenation. So hydrogen bubbles would be released through the water for 10 minutes. And when I come off the screen share, I'll show you what happens with my bottle. I'll press the button and you'll see the bubbles rising up. It's incredibly easy to use. One of the lovely things about this is that in the box, it does come with a few different attachments. And one of the attachments here enables you to take just this little base unit on holiday, or if you're going out for the day. You don't want to take this whole bottle, which obviously has a big glass component. You could just take this base unit, which is relatively lightweight, and you could buy a big or a small bottle of mineral water. This is obviously a small one, but I've done this with 1.5 litres or so. And using the little attachment here that caters for the different sizes of mineral water bottles, you can screw the base onto the top of a mineral water bottle, turn it upside down, and then press the button and have the whole mineral water bottle hydrogenated, so that even when you're out for the day or out on holiday, you can have good, healthy water. So that's a nice little added boost. The hydrogen settings will release 2,100 parts per billion of hydrogen into the water, which gives something called an oxidation reduction potential, ORP, from -500 to 700. Now you might be thinking, what on earth's that? Certainly what I thought when I first read this. This is good. This is a good thing. We want to have the lowest possible figure for oxidation reduction potential, because that's showing us that we're getting as little oxidization as possible and as much, let's say, free radical fighting potential as possible. On this little graph here, it shows you that if you buy a bottle of Coca-Cola or something similar, there's a plus 500 ORP. That's not good. What we want is something down here in the minus numbers. And hydrogen water, actually in the little booklet that comes when you buy one of these bottles, it says it's -700. So here it says 500, but potentially it's even lower down here. So we've got a really strong ORP, a lot of health boosting possibilities here. As I said, you can also create hydrogen to inhale. You can use this device as a nebulizer using a little piece of kit, a fancy bit of tubing that comes with it, to be able to breathe in the hydrogen. And this has a fantastic effect on the brain. And if you're worried about potential brain injuries, or you're recovering from some sort of brain injury, or wanting to prevent, as I say, something neurological from going wrong, this is a good practice to have, to inhale hydrogen regularly. So moving on from hydrogen, this bottle also ozonates water. So this gives us a really great tool to cope with situations where you need something that is antibiotic, antiseptic, antibacterial. So if you cut yourself or you have some sort of wound, if you don't want to go and use, what would I use? I mean, I wouldn't use chemicals, but as a kid, my mum would run for the TCP bottle, which would sting like mad on wounds, or the Dettol bottle or something like that. If you don't want to use chemicals, ozone is a fantastic, ozonated water is a fantastic liquid to be able to use to wash wounds. It's also fantastic for using as a mouthwash, because it will kill the bacteria in your mouth, or to use as a gargle. So if you're a singer, or if you're someone and you begin to feel the beginnings of a sore throat, gargling with ozonated water will really help to kill those bugs that are doing the best to set hold. If you have bad breath, if you have gum disease, if you have tooth decay or anything going on in your mouth, washing your mouth with ozone water regularly is going to keep killing the bacteria and any undesired goings on there. But likewise, it can also be used if you've got something like fungal toenail or athlete's foot, those sort of fungally conditions. You could soak your feet in it. You could also use it to wash your fruit and vegetables, to kill whatever might be on the surface of your fruit and veg, and to help remove anything that you don't want to put into your mouth. And of course, there's all sorts of other things. It's said that if you wash your face with ozone water, again, it creates a softer skin and promotes youthfulness. You can also wash your kitchen surfaces or your bathroom surfaces. If you want to wipe down surfaces that are antiseptic, again, you can simply create ozone water and use that. So very useful tool to have alongside the hydrogen water. So people often say, well, how does it work? How do we get ozone water and hydrogen water from the same bottle? And it works thanks to a very ingenious set of electrolysis plates that are stacked on top of each other, embedded into the base of the bottle. The bottle is incredibly high-tech, and what the electrolysis plates do is they will remove from the water the hydrogen component and release the ozone, or they will remove the oxygen ozone component and they will release the hydrogen through the water. And that will bubble through for, as I say, 5 or 10 minutes. The components are made from very high quality materials that are non-leaching and made with eco credentials, and they have all the certification and paperwork to show that they've come from the right places. There are a lot of these bottles around that have, let's say, electrolysis plates in the bottom that are slightly lacking in quality, and they don't have the right stamps, and they simply don't work so well or last so long. The bottle itself is quite thick Pyrex glass, and again, non-leaching. Now, there are, as I say, a lot of different products on the market that create hydrogen, and sometimes hydrogen and ozone. The quality, having looked at many of them myself, does vary hugely. And in particular, what varies hugely is the operating hours. So what I love about this bottle is that it has 5,000 hours of continuous operation as a lifespan, which says here it's the equivalent of 5 years of service. But if you actually do the maths and you think that most of the time you're going to be hydrogenating water for 5 minutes, and you think of how many 5 minutes are in 5,000, it's the equivalent of many more years than this. And I certainly know people who've had their bottles for many more years. It will ozonate or hydrogenate almost half a litre, 450 millilitres. and it will charge 13,500 litres over its lifetime. So it's a good quality product that's going to last you a long time.
Can I just ask, Delia, can you do the oxygen and the hydrogen at the same time, or do you have to do it separately?
No, it's one or the other.
Right.
So you're either hydrogenating or you're ozonating.
Right.
And of course, it's great to give to animals, so you don't have to keep this just for yourself. You can also give it to your beloved pets, keep them healthier. And for those of you who are interested in bioresonance and have heard some of the other talks I've given, there are some little mini devices that come from the same company that look like this. They're as big as my hand. And if you have one of these, you can also structure the water by programming it with the frequencies from one of these devices. So one shown here, the energy device is shown. So if you had this energy device and you wanted to energize the water, or you wanted to imbue it with anti-stressing properties or protective properties, you could choose the programs, the appropriate program on this device. And of course, the other devices have many, many programs for enhancing health. And you could hold it against the bottle and play that program. The water would soak up the frequencies, and at the end, towards the end of the program, you could press the button to add the hydrogen. So there's a lot of things you can do with this bottle. And of course, if you're interested in the synergistic effect, then do talk to me about these other products that work with the bottle. This bottle was actually devised as a support system for the bioresonance devices, because part of what the bioresonance devices do is to detox your body and to kill all the nasties in a harmless, side effect-free way. And this water bottle was partly developed to speed up and to support the process of detoxification. Good, so let me come out of the screen share and let me actually press the button on here now that you can see me a bit more easily. So this is the DeAqua bottle. And if I press this button a couple of times to create hydrogen, blue light comes on. And then can you see this column rising up through the middle? That's hydrogen. It's creating hydrogen bubbles. If I were to press it, press and hold to create ozone, again, you'd see bubbles rising up the center, but it would be ozone bubbles rather than hydrogen. So that will run for 5 minutes. And then this entire bottle will be filled with these very health-giving properties of molecular hydrogen. And if I wanted to nebulize with that, this is what the base unit looks like. I know you've seen it in the picture, but I could just put a little bit of water into the bottom, half full up to here, and then you get various accessories that come with it. And you get this bit of tubing with a plug on the end, and that plug simply presses. I'll press that in like a cork. There we go, click into the top. And then all you have to do is to untangle the tube, and then this looks a bit medical, but you can put it over your head and over your ears. Let me take my glasses off to show you. And you can put those two little ending bits into your nostrils and tighten up the bead so that it sits there. I don't have to hold it. And then if I were to press that 3 times, I'd get 10 minutes of hydrogen, which is a good amount of time to inhale hydrogen. Obviously, if you're not feeling well, you could do it several times a day, or you could do it now and then as maintenance. But it's very easy. You just put that on a surface and breathe. You can't smell it, you can't hear it. So the first time I nebulized hydrogen, I sat there thinking, is anything happening? And then after a few minutes, I began to realize that I just felt calmer, and I felt very nice, and my nose and throat felt nice, and my head felt clear. And I realized, something must be happening. So that was a nice experience. So let me just pop that back. So this is a little bit about this bottle and a little bit about hydrogen and ozone. I have been using this myself and noticed lots of differences in my energy levels and my mental focus. And what's lovely now is I've had people increasingly coming back and saying, oh, this cleared up or that cleared up. I've had lots of people comment on their skin, itchy skin, stopping being itchy, itchy eyes. I had someone with an eye condition that they were reliant on eye drops for. They stopped using the eye drops, their eyes returned back to normal. I've had people comment on rashes disappearing. I've had people often commenting on their energy levels and their kind of sense of especially waking up in the morning, improving. Again, lots of people who have had sort of post-virally brain foggy things talking about how that's begun to clear. Had somebody whose sleep improved a lot. Of course, many people don't give me feedback, but the people who have emailed or contacted me to give me feedback, there've been those sorts of things said, which has been quite lovely. So I'm quite passionate about this. So that's a little bit about the DeAqua 3-in-1 hydrogen ozone bottle.